certified seed, you'll never have bacterial wilt, and you'll also not have a disease called potato cyst nematode.
Viazi yenye tulitoa hapa tuliletewa na director wetu, ilifanya kazi mzuri sana.
Tutasaidia serikali kwa kupunguza ajali. Naona kama nchi yetu haitakuwa na shida ya chakula.
Yote haya kwenye KBC Channel 1.
I just need 1 minute of your time.
5 minutes.
You're not married, are you?
What?
Job now niko nayo.
Which one?
Working from home.
You're gonna work in an office?
Kumbe your mom was right. Even though you control mse.
Utaisi kupaswa jua wanawake.
Mama Tifa atatulia nizoe.
Auntie, there's a thief in the house.
Oh, you don't have to be scared of him.
Did you knock?
Ulisikia footsteps. Cheki bro. Ukiwa nikadai kukutoka. Wewe mjiaze. Tujipange na hii mali tikiteke.
Unikasuku bwana.
6.
And 4 of them were from the ghetto.
6. Tiffany wangu.
Msikilizaji wa Radio Taifa, karibu tena kwenye kipindi kinajulikana kama Rada ni Yesu. Kila Jumapili kinaletwa kwako na rubani unayempenda anajulikana kama Mr. Rafton Iggy. Ungana nami kila Jumapili kuanzia mida ya saa 12 mpaka saa 1 usiku. Kuna muziki noma sampulia hii.
Najua nitaona mazuri.
Mwambia mpenzi msikilizaji, ni kunanga ni kukaskush. Kila Jumapili ninakuletea muziki za mavijana. Kama wewe ni kijana na unataka injili kamili, utaipata hapa. Tuonane Jumapili hii.
Sauti ya Mkenya.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on Lunchtime News. We have a comprehensive bulletin lined up this afternoon. My name is Jacky. Wambiru. Sign language interpreter is Lucy Maura. Some of the issues that we shall be taking a look at this afternoon are matters security, matters politics, matters health, among others. And to kick us off, Information and Communication Cabinet Secretary Joe Musheru has distanced himself from claims that he was part of those planning to rig the August 9th presidential elections. Musheru said he has every right to endorse a candidate of his choice, and such a move should not be linked to claims of rigging, as he has no mandate in managing the elections.
Speaking at a gala dinner to award finalist startups in entrepreneurship, Musheru read malice from those linking him to claims of planning to rig the August 9th presidential election.
I do not work for the IEBC, I do not run elections, and I am therefore surprised that so much effort and energy can be put, such a long letter is written to start asking IEBC to sanction me.
Musheru said he is surprised by the turn of events by some spheres over some CSS turn to democratically endorse a candidate, saying some groupings have resorted to propaganda as a tool to whip emotions for fear of losing in the August polls.
Just focus on their campaigns, move their agenda and leave us out. None of us are in IBC or involved in IBC. We provide the policy, the support that they need. IBC for connectivity, they get that from the mobile operators. They don't get that from us. The government does not have any network.
The CS in the meantime say the government is committed to ensure a robust, developed and enabling environment for businesses to thrive in the country, calling on young people to take advantage of the many avenues to build themselves.
ICT is the new way of life and defining character of our generation that will continue to influence human interactions for a long time to come. It is encouraging to note that today's finalists span across different sectors, all geared towards creating a positive impact in our communities and the planet at large.
I take this opportunity to thank all the young Kenyan entrepreneurs, all the participants. You were very active in the challenge. Honestly, you were very inspiring, refreshing. You put so much energy during the pitching sessions. You were very well prepared.
The three finalists walked away with 1.6 million Kenya shillings each, as well as other goodies. Ruth Wamboy for Lunchtime News.
Religious leaders drawn from different denominations across Embu County are drumming up for peace ahead of the August general election. Speaking during a prayer service for aspiring candidates in Embu, the clergy urged all candidates vying for different positions to become peace ambassadors.
At the interfaith prayer service held at Mbere ACK Cathedral, messages of love, unity and peace dominated the service presided over by Bishop Paul Kariuki Njiru of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Embu. In his sermon, Bishop Kariuki emphasized the need for all candidates to be agents of peace in their campaigns.
Ni vizuri kujua kuwa viongozi pia tunapewa na Mungu. Tunapoona wanapojitolea, sisi basi tunawaunga ili waweze kuendeleza kazi yao na kuomba kura wakiwa na amani, na pia wajue kama viongozi wa kanisa tunawaangalia vizuri.
Echoing the sentiments, ACK Bishop Reverend Moses Masamba from the Diocese of Mbere South called for political candidates to observe the highest level of responsibility and civility to ensure the county remains united even after the August polls.
Mwito wetu kama kanisa ni tufanye uchaguzi ambao uko na amani, na viongozi wasilete mambo ya kugawanya watu, kuleta vita ama kufanya mambo ambao haina heshima. Na wamesema wataleta amani na siasa zao na kampeni zao zitakuwa za heshima.
Leaders present hailed the initiative by the church in promoting peace, adding that all efforts must be geared towards ensuring the country does not slip into chaos on account of politics.
We are urging every single participant in this election, whether you are an aspirant or you are a voter, that never again should Kenya shed blood because of politics.
Ninaomba wenzangu, tunapoenda kupigana, tunapoendelea kufanya siasa, tunapoendelea kutafuta viti, naomba tutafute viti na tuongee maongeo ambao inaweza sikanisha community.
Jacqueline Masharia for Lunchtime News.
Still on matters of politics, electoral body IEBC has cleared 35 disgruntled losers in the United Democratic Alliance primaries in Mombasa County to run as independent candidates in the August 9th general election. Led by senatorial hopeful Mohamed Amir, the aspirants claimed the nominations were marred by irregularities and voter manipulation.
The losers in UDA primaries insist the exercise was not free and fair, alleging it had been manipulated to favor particular individuals.
Well, we do apologize for that. We shall be bringing you that report later on. For now, we move on. The National Cohesion and Integration Commission claims the conflict along the Isiolo and Meru boundary could be linked to the August 9th general election. The commission said investigations have shown that some politicians were seeking cheap mileage by inciting locals against others, and those found will be held liable for any conflicts.
NCIC Commissioner Danvers Makori warned local politicians from Meru and Isiolo counties to stop inciting locals along the border.
We'll take more action, regardless of who you are. You're not above the law. We'll not allow wananchi in Meru, in Isiolo, to squabble and fight because you have special interests and you're inciting them for your own special interest. Number one. Number two, the question that has been developing and bedeviling this issue for a while. The reason we've brought all these leaders here is so that we can have a consensus.
Isiolo County Commissioner Geoffrey Omoding called on members of the public to desist from taking matters into their own hands whenever they are wronged and instead allow government authorities to take action in accordance with the law.
Hatutakubali incitement yoyote na mwanasiasa ama mtu yote ambaye anajiona ako na nguvu. Kwa hivyo hiyo mambo ya incitement hiyo tutakuwa very firm on that. Sisi ambao tuko karibu hapa tukipata report security team tuna move in. Tuna move in, tuna secure mahali.
Elders from the area promised to ensure communities coexist harmoniously as brothers and sisters.
Na vile tumeanza mkutano yetu, hakuna mtu ambaye amekuwa defensive upande wake. Tumekuwa watu moja, tumeongea haja yetu na haja yetu ni tuwe na amani. Sisi nafikiri hatutagonganishwa tena. Sisi tutaishi kama mandugu na si wanasiasa. Hii ni wakati wa kutafuta kura. Lakini usitafute kura ukijaribu kuweka maneno. Kusema hapa ni wa fulani, hapa ni wa fulani.
They called upon the government and NCIC to also organize more meetings at the village level so that members of the conflicting communities interact more often. Jelis Aladi, for Lunchtime News.
In other news, enterprises and organizations have been called on to adopt the technological shift in security systems as they go about risk management solutions for their business. This came from ACE's International President Malcolm Smith during a corporate security conference at a Nairobi hotel. The ACE's boss assured that the shift towards artificial intelligence does not take away the human bit of security solution.
Speaking during a corporate security conference where he was the chief guest, ACE's International President Malcolm Smith highlighted the need to get the physical and artificial intelligence factors of security in enterprises and organizations, even as he pointed out a skill shortage of 4.7 million.
So there's really a focus on people to upskill and reskill people so they can catch up and being able to protect their assets, people and assets of the companies through cybersecurity expertise.
The association's Kenya chapter chairperson Tobias C. pointing out the need for private security organizations to collaborate with government institutions to provide better security solutions for their clientele.
Unless organizations manage their risks, then those organizations are not likely to survive.
Sentiments echoed by the regional vice president, retired Brigadier General Ahmed Mohammed, who noted the association's steady improvement with the plans to grow it across Africa.
We are better able now to participate with everybody else, far and wide, on how ASIS is operating. And that helped us indeed to pass our message and indeed to grow the numbers in our chapter, both in the chapter and the region. ASIS chapter, well done.
The association boasts of membership of over 37,000 premier professionals globally, with projections of more joining in the days to come. Yusufar reporting for Lunchtime News.
Now, as promised earlier, let's take a step back where the electoral body IEBC has cleared 35 disgruntled losers in the United Democratic Alliance primaries in Mombasa County to run as independent candidates in the August 9th general election. Led by senatorial hopeful Mohamed Amir, the aspirants claimed the nominations were marred by irregularities and voter manipulation.
The losers in UDA primaries insist the exercise was not free and fair, alleging it had been manipulated to favor particular individuals. This leading to those disgruntled taking the independent route after the party allegedly turned down their complaints.
Sisi tunasema kama wanachama kama watu ambao tumeamua kuendelea na siasa kama independent candidates, ikiwa mtu ameshindwa kwa uhaki na ukweli, sisi sote tuko radhi kusupport yule ambaye ameshinda ikiwa ametushinda kihaki.
The aspirants said they are yet to identify any gubernatorial and presidential candidate they will support.
Hivi tulivyo, hatuna rais ambaye tumemweka mbele kwa sasa. Sisi hatuna governor ambaye tumemweka kwa sasa, na niko tayari kufanya kazi na governor yoyote ambaye tumejua ni kwamba ni governor wa kihaki, wa kisawasawa, ambaye ako na mwelekeo wa kisawasawa, ambaye ako na nia safi na wananchi wa Mombasa.
Former chairman of Mombasa UDA MCA's aspirant Aziz Mbuzi said the act has not deterred their quest to serve the electorates in Mombasa County.
Sisi kama watu ambao tumeamua kutoka UDA tunaendelea mbele na safari yetu kulingana na vile matakwa ya wananchi wetu.
Lengo letu kubwa si ni kuhakikisha kwamba kiongozi atakayechaguliwa Mombasa County ni kiongozi bora.
Jacqueline Masharia for Lunchtime News.
Still in the political arenas, across a section of community leaders from Mandera County want locals to vet those seeking elective positions and vote for people with integrity and development oriented. In a meeting that brought together youth and women, locals were urged to ensure a peaceful electioneering period devoid of clan politics.
In a meeting that was led by Mandera Maendeleo ya Wanawake chairperson Bawiko Aden, locals were urged to be ambassadors of peace and ensure sins of clanism do not infiltrate into politics.
Tunataka kuwachagua maviongozi wetu kwa amani na upendo, kwa jina la wamama, kwa jina wa vijana, kwa jina wa wasichana wa Mandera County. Tunataka kuwachagua gavana wetu 2022 kwa amani, upendo na umoja.
Aden said already local leaders have shown willingness to work together regardless of their political differences, and locals too must emulate them. A group of elders who attended the meeting promised that they will traverse the county in preaching peace and the need for the community to speak as one voice.
Tumefurahia hii muungano, na wale wako na fikra mwingine bado na sisi waungane, na tunahakikishia serikali, tunahakikishia jamii ya Kenya, tunahakikishia wa Kenya hii kura itakuwa kura ya amani ambaye haijawahi kuonekana mbeleni.
In other news, a section of leaders from Kilifi County want the national government to implement the 2.3 billion shilling Kavinyalalo integrated irrigation scheme. The leaders say the project was commissioned during the tenure of President Mwai Kibaki, only for the funds allocated to the project to be diverted to Galana Kulalu soon after President Kibaki left office.
Kilifi County leaders say all was done regarding the 2.3 billion shillings Kivanyalalo integrated irrigation scheme, including feasibility studies and public participation, only for things to change after President Kibaki, now deceased, left office. Speaking during the official handing over of 28 water pumps and generators worth 2 million shillings to community groups to do irrigation in Madunguni, MCA Kakuyuni Nixon Muramba said once the project is implemented, the locals will no longer have to rely on rain for farming or depend on relief food.
Hivyo basi wananchi wetu wanalia sana njaa. Ndio maana nikatuma pendekezo kule kwa county government kwa ule mfuko, ile hazina ya World Development Fund, tukaweza kununua vifaa hivi kwa gharama shilingi milioni 2. Ningeomba kama ule mradi unaweza kurudishwa, ule mradi wa Kavunyalalo Integrated Irrigation Scheme, kama ungeweza kurudishwa, na hakika ungeweza kuinua wananchi wetu, wangekuwa hawaombi, hawategemei chakula cha msaada.
Mradi huu kusema ukweli unaweza kunufaisha watu wa Kakuyuni, watu wa Malindi kwa ujumla, na unaona there are 28 of them. yenye ambao wamejipanga tayari katika kila makundi around 10 people. So in general these are 280 people wenye ambao watafaidika from this project.
Lack of rains in the last 3 seasons has subjected the residents to suffering, and they are now appealing to the National Irrigation Board that is funding the project to ensure its completion. Residents hailed the water pumps and generator insurance program initiated by the MCAs, saying it will help boost small-scale farming and directly benefit over 280 families.
Tunanyunyizia maji tukitumia ndoo, unatumia makopo kunyunyizia maji katika mimea yetu. Lakini hivi ambavyo tumepata itakuwa rahisi. Generators zitatusaidia kunyunyizia mimea yetu na tutapanua ukulima wa mashamba makubwa.
Elvis Otieno, Lunchtime News.
Well, that report brings us to a short commercial break here on Lunchtime News. Dongo Tufa will be right back with more news.
Uchaguzi mkuu wa tarehe 9 Agosti utabadilisha pakubwa taswira ya kisiasa ya taifa hili. Je, hii inamaanisha nini kwako wewe mpiga kura? Kila Jumapili saa 12 jioni, jiunge nao Gladys Mungai na Harith Salim kwenye makala yetu ya Kenya ya Amua, ambapo pamoja na wadau mbalimbali watajadili na kudadavua kwa kina michakato ya uchaguzi. Fanya uamuzi wa busara. Usikose kutazama Kenya ya Amua kila Jumapili kwenye runinga uipendayo ya KBC Channel 1.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Welcome back. Now let's proceed. Budalangi Member of Parliament Raphael Wanjala has urged President Uhuru Kenyatta to come to the rescue of 59 fishermen arrested at Lake Victoria by Ugandan police last week for allegedly being involved in illegal fishing. Among those arrested are the underage and primary school pupils.
Budalangi MP Raphael Wanjala has urged President Uhuru Kenyatta to intervene and help free 59 fishermen arrested by Ugandan authorities in Lake Victoria for allegedly doing illegal fishing last week. The MP accused the government of not doing enough to resolve the matter. Wanjala claimed the fishermen were being harassed by Ugandan Defense Forces.
Jeshi ya Uganda imeingia Lake Victoria. Wameshika watu wetu wote. Watu wetu wameshindwa kwenda kuvua samaki. Uganda wanataka kila mtu atoe 40,000. Mr. President, you must come to our aid because it's only you who can protect us from Ugandans. It is very serious. If it continues, we are going to organize for the demonstration.
The Budalangi Fishermen Leadership through Beach Management Unit Assistance Chairperson Polycarp Juma condemned the arrest, saying the move has disrupted livelihoods for affected families.
Na tunaomba serikali yetu ya Kenya tafadhali, watu wenye walishikwa kule ni wanafunzi na wazazi wa watu. Sasa huku watu wanahangaika sana. Ukipata hata wale wazazi ambao walikuwa wako na watoto wao, pia saizi watoto hawezi kumanage kwenda kwa shule juu sasa hakuna vile wanaweza pata mapato.
Among those arrested include 4 children, one of who is a class 8 pupil.
Alikuwa registered class 8. Sasa ombi langu, naomba serikali yetu anisaidie kwa maana sina bwana. Mimi ndio bwana, mimi ndio mama.
Nakuru County government will provide fish traders along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway with freezers and cooler boxes in a bid to address the quality and safety of their product. The county said that the construction of the 239 million shilling fish market along the highway would be complete by December 2022, thus resolving the issue of hawking along the highway. Here is Andrew Okeru with the report.
Following the warning by the Ministry of Health that the fish hawked along the highway was not fit for human consumption, the county government of Nakuru has opted to create the right environment for fish market. Speaking in Naivasha, Nakuru Governor Leki Nyanjui assured fish traders and consumers that the county was keen to resolve the current impasse.
There is a market right on the highway that we are creating. It's already under construction. So once it is complete, it will have a full place where you can park your vehicle, go and buy your fish or eat. If you want to eat your fish there, then you can go. So I think the temporary inconvenience of them not having a place to sell is obviously not a good thing.
The governor said the fish market, once complete, will solve the issue of storage, marketing, processing and value addition.
When you give hawkers a permanent place to work, you also give confidence to those who give credit. Because if I'm giving you 10, 20,000, I want to know where I will get you tomorrow.
On their part, the traders defended the quality of fish sold on the highway. According to Peter Kimani, the warning by the health department is alarming, claiming traders they only sell freshly harvested fish.
Sasa tumeshindwa ni nani hao wanatuharibia jina, juu hatunaga samaki yenye si fresh. Na tunauzia almost zaidi ya customer hata 1,500-3,000 kwa wiki, na wanaenda wengi wao wakirudi.
This was echoed by another trader, Elijah Wanyoike, who noted that the directive had affected the market.
Tatuharibia kazi juu sasa ndio wakati kutafuta school fees. Ndio sasa watu wengine sasa mpaka kuna wengine wako na watu wako secondary, mambo ni gumu na maisha iko gumu.
Andrew Kero for Lunchtime News.
Now we'll cross over to business, whereby private sector business conditions deteriorated last month, hurt by decrease in customer demand in response to rising consumer prices and living cost, as well as supply shortfalls for some goods. For the first time in 3 months, the headline Stanbic Bank Kenya Purchases Managers Index dropped below the 50.0 no change mark in April, falling to a reading of 49.5 from 50.5 in March.
Bank Kenya Purchasers Managers Index indicates that this month a solid fall in output was registered as firms experienced supply shortfalls for a number of items due to the war in Ukraine and a near record rise in output prices. Input costs rose to the greatest extent in over 8 years. Subsequently, retail prices were raised at the quickest rate in the survey's history, while business confidence dropped to a fresh record low. Clients reduced their spending due to the marked increases in selling prices, fuel costs, and other living expenses. For the first time in 3 months, the headline Stanbic Bank Kenya Purchasers Managers Index dropped below the 50.0 no change mark in April, falling to a reading of 49.5 from 50.5 in March. Readings above 50.0 signal an improvement in business conditions on the previous month, while readings below 50.0 show a deterioration. The survey indicates that the decline in operating conditions was underlined by a renewed fall in new order volumes in April. The decrease was related to clients reducing their spending due to marked increase in selling prices, fuel cost, and other living expenses. With sales falling, Kenyan businesses reduced their activity for the third time in the past 4 months in April. The reduction was solid and faster than in March, with declines seen in the construction, agriculture, and services sectors. Business confidence regarding future activity dropped to a record low for the second successive month in April on concerns over rapid price inflation and reduced client spend that meant that only 9% of businesses gave a positive outlook. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I am Teresa Mutai.
Israeli firm Admir Technologies is set to roll out a geosynthetics program geared at building its local capacity through road construction initiatives. The firm aims to provide solutions through trainings on adoption of geosynthetic solutions in roads and related infrastructure.
Technologies, a provider of geotechnical and civil engineering solutions based on geosynthetics, has commenced local building and construction professionals training and related capacity building in conjunction with the Architectural Association of Kenya. Admir Technologies CEO Mary Tato says the firm would be investing more than 50 million shillings in the rollout of capacity building efforts geared at facilitating cost savings in the timely delivery of quality infrastructure projects. He says that geosynthetic solution in engineering projects such as roads, airport runways, railway lines, seaports, dams and retaining walls, reservoirs and waste landfills, stabilizing slopes, drainage and many other applications have been proven to be cost effective.
Geosynthetics will save cost and they'll also save time in projects, and this is achieved by one, you're able to build in very tricky environments. For example, you can easily build a road in a swampy area or in an area where you have very soft soils.
With the help of our geosynthetic solutions, we can create a much more stable base, and we can increase significantly the lifetime of the road structure.
Finally, Family Bank shareholders have approved a 1.1 billion shillings in dividend payout at the rate of 0.83 cents per share. The dividend payout is backed by the bank's upscale profit before tax that increased 3.3 billion shillings, as well as the improved liquidity from the 2021 financial year results. Family Bank CEO Rebecca Mbithi noted that the lender's core focus was to deliver strong value propositions and strategies meant to drive up their business operation systems. Ndutamo Kami for Lunchtime News.
In other news, flamingos have flocked back to Lake Bogoria in Baringo County after the end of the breeding season at Lake Natron in Tanzania. The flamingos courting a dance at the lake, a natural heated swimming pool, and the rich culture are some of the key attractions at Bogoria, as Irene Muchuma Odim highlights in this week's episode of Magical Scenes.
About 1.3 million lesser and mature flamingos are on the banks of Lake Bogoria in Baringo County, creating an ideal spectacle for photographers and bird watchers.
Especially now that we don't have a lot of international tourists, the flamingos are not disturbed, because before people could flock in and, so there are as many as they can be.
The lake's abundance of algae attracts flamingos that had migrated to Lake Natron in Tanzania for breeding. The migratory birds are a spectacle to watch. Once again, it is that time of the year. The flamingos are back to Lake Bogoria in the county of Baringo after a breeding season in Lake Natron, Tanzania. You could be lucky enough to see them grazing, and most interesting bit about them that you could capture for a memory is their courtship dance. This is their courting dance. They lift their head high and slowly tiptoe while swinging from side to side. Their grazing tradition is also admirable. Lake Bogoria is also known for hot geysers that are medicinal and are a key tourist gem. This has seen facilities in this part of Kenya opt for geyser-heated swimming pools.
All clients will always want to have the ealing, the dip of the ealing. However, for exercise, and also the temperatures here, we still have a number of clients swimming in the cold pool, which is 25 meters. So it's quite deep, and also the length. So, but again, we cannot debate about it. The spa pool takes it all.
A serene environment, ideal for bathing, relaxation, team building, and game watching.
We progressively encourage clients to plant a tree, and you've seen some of them have names and have the dates when they were planted.
Bogoria is frequented by repeat visitors, or simply put, once you visit this destination, you will either want to stay longer or come back again. Irene Mchuma Odim, Magical Sense in Bogoria, Baringo County.
Kenya's social protection sector lacks the capacity to adequately address global shocks like the COVID-19 pandemic, owing to, among others, gaps in coordination, underfunding and over-reliance on donor funding. The latest report by the Partnership for African Social and Governance Research indicates that only 7% of working-age adults receive cash transfers. Older persons take up the lion's share at 77%, while persons with disability only account for 1% of funds availed under social protection programs.
You want to create solidarity, because we need to think inclusivity is about solidarity, ability to bring those ones who are not able to come on board so that they can enjoy with others.
Even when we are talking about the informal and informal social protection, I'm very happy that these researchers are going to help us, because up to last year, nobody even thought that people in the employment sector can be vulnerable. Were we not waking up and finding that you don't have a job? That is what happened. And with that, you are at home. So it would also be good for us as a country, as we are seriously looking at ways of improving on our social protection, we look at such vulnerabilities.
Meanwhile, groups of women in Kitui County have swapped charcoal burning and logging activities with fruits and vegetable farming in efforts to conserve the forest cover. The group grows fruits in deforested areas, both as an economic activity and to conserve the environment.
It acts as a medicinal. We are making sure that it is not used up for cutting firewood.
We prefer to plant a moringa tree. We use its leaves for medicine. We crush the seeds to clean our water for drinking. And its leaves, when it drops down, it makes manure to protect our earth.
In her younger days, Museni Ndanu witnessed trees in her home area felled regularly for charcoal and logging as source of livelihood. However, the situation is slowly changing as groups of women in the area have taken up horticulture farming.
Going through the pots, we ensure that we do what we call root pruning.
The women are reclaiming degraded forest land by growing an assortment of fruit trees and vegetables.
Tumeshukuru kwa hiyo, imetusaidia sana, imetufunza vile tutakuwa tunafanya mashamba yetu. Kama hii yangu haina mbolea, nianze na hii miti ndio nimepanda, ndio hii shamba ikiwa hii miti imetoa matawi, ikiongezekea mbolea nitakuwa ninapanda kama mahindi ama mbaazi, siwe zinanisaidia kwa chakula ya watoto.
The women plant indigenous trees alongside fruit trees and have started nurseries to scale up fruit production.
Kwa jua miti ingine ni dawa na matunda tunapanda kama passion fruits, papai na mboga ya kutusaidia.
The group of 16 says each make 25,000 shillings a month from this venture and are planning to scale up their operations and expand their markets.
Tumesaidika sana kwa hiyo, na kuna mahali tumetoa tulikuwa hatujui la kufanya tukiwa na shamba kama hii, na vile vile matunda inatusaidia sana kwa sababu tuko na watoto, na hii mti itakaa kama miaka 15 na tumeifurahia.
The International Tree Foundation and Kenya Forest Research Institute are working with the group to inculcate the best afforestation practices to sustain their venture and restore the area's forest cover.
Where communities burn and produce charcoal, there's over-harvesting of sandalwood that is of concern, but also very much available in these ecosystems. Logging, particularly for furniture and for other purposes. The natural regeneration areas, we are seeing the conversion them into commercial and also other land uses.
International Tree Foundation, we plant trees with the communities. It's a community-led organization whereby we work with the communities to conserve our forests. We believe that women are the beginners and nurturers of nature. We also incorporate fruits for nutrition. They are doing it as an investment, as an enterprise, so that they are able to keep their children in school. And together with the women in all communities that we work in, we have seen quite a big difference on the forests, on their areas in their farms.
In the dry areas, we have got a lot of indigenous fruit trees, which have been not been properly utilized. One of them is the Vitex pios. In the local name, it's called Kimu. The other one is Zemenia. The other one is Baobab, the huge tree. We are trying to add value other than selling the seeds like Baobab. You get the mabuyu, but from the mabuyu you can add value and get some juice from it. For the pios or Vitex pios, we can also get jam instead of using the common blueberry we are using. In the dry areas, especially here in Kitui, a lot of lands or farmlands have been degraded. We have come up with dryland babu, which we are trying to reclaim or rehabilitate, and we are trying to tell farmers how to capture or how to reverse the trend of the soil erosion using the babu for soil conservation.
The groups hope that the afforestation venture will not only sustain their livelihoods, but also improve the area's ecology to support more farming activities in future.
The economy rebounded last year, growing by 7.5%, powered by the lifting of COVID-19 restrictions as compared to a contraction of 0.3% in 2020. This is according to the latest economic survey report that indicates that the economy was lifted by the manufacturing, hospitality and logistics sectors. However, National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani projects the economy to slow this year under the weight of high fuel prices.
Restrictions pushed to contract 0.3% in 2020, the first contraction in nearly 3 decades. However, the lifting of the restrictions and gradual reopening up of countries lifted economic activities, with Kenya rebounding to register a growth rate of 7.5%. This was driven by growth in sectors such as education at 214%, accommodation and food services at 52.5%, financial and insurance at 12.5%, while manufacturing rebound from a contraction of 0.4% in 2020 to 6.9%.
Overall, the country's economic performance for the year 2021 expanded by 7.5% compared to a decline of 0.3% in 2020.
Agriculture, which is the backbone of Kenya's economy, contracted 0.1% compared to a growth of 5.2% in 2020 due to poor and erratic rains.
It may be noted that the agricultural sector recorded a mixed performance, recording a contraction of 0.1% in 2021 compared to a more impressive growth of 5.2% in the year 2020. When all sectors failed to show any signs of growth, agriculture stood out with a growth of 5.2% 2020.
The value of trade increased by 26.3% to 2.9 trillion shillings. The value of exports rose to 743.7 billion shillings from 643.7 billion shillings during the previous year, with agriculture dominating the exports. On the other hand, the value of imports increased to 2.1 trillion shillings from 1.6 trillion shillings in 2020, with balance of trade widening 40% to 1.4 trillion shillings.
To continue accessing the international markets, noting that the number of reduced flights in and out of the country at that time, because when in and out flights were reduced, the challenges of the air freight was a big problem, and the government came in, gave subsidy, gave incentives, and as a result of this, they were kept afloat. These interventions were aimed at supporting the sustenance of our farming communities by providing continued gainful employment for thousands of workers in the sector.
Even though Yatani expects the economy to continue growing, he says the growth is unlikely to match the 2021 figure due to rising inflation, higher fuel prices, and a weaker shilling. Reporting for Prime Edition.
And the ongoing Ukraine crisis is negatively affecting East Africa's food security through reduced food supplies, accessibility and high prices of food, fuel and fertilizer. The United Nations World Food Programme. Here are the details of this and other stories making headlines across Africa.
Export restrictions on grains, vegetable oil and fertilizers have surged since the start of the Ukraine-Russia conflict, the scale having reached the levels of the 2008 global food crisis in terms of share of global trade. This is according to the World Food Programme in its latest situation update on the food security conditions in Eastern Africa, noting that the Ukraine crisis could further exacerbate the already dire food security situation. The World Food Programme estimated that the ensuing inflation from the Ukraine crisis could push additional 7 to 10 million people into acute hunger in Eastern Africa in 2022. Ukraine and Russia have restricted exports of wheat and other food products. Elsewhere, the Food and Agriculture Organization says it urgently requires $131.4 million to increase immediate food access in rural areas in Somalia amid the risk of famine. FAO's representative in Somalia said the funds will be used in safeguarding livelihoods and supporting seasonal food production and supporting evidence and coordination of drought response actions. FAO aims to assist 882,000 worst drought-affected rural people across 52 districts in Somalia. The UN Food Agency and partners have so far reached almost 11 million livestock with supportive emergency treatment services. Finally, Zambia and Namibia are expected to sign a memorandum of understanding for the construction of a gas and oil pipeline. The agreement will be signed next month, and that the gas will be used for power generation, while the oil pipeline will help reduce the cost of petroleum products in the Southern African nation. The project, which was expected to take 3 to 4 years to complete, will have its main gas and oil power station in Lusaka. Last month, Zambia signed an agreement with Angola to have a stake in the Lobito oil refinery project, which will have a capacity of 200,000 barrels per day.
The U.S. unemployment rate dropped to its pre-pandemic low of 3.5% in April, while job growth moderated to a still brisk pace amid widespread worker shortages, underscoring the challenge the Federal Reserve faces to curb high inflation. Here are the details of these and other stories making headlines across borders.
Unemployment rate in the U.S. is likely to have reduced to 3.5%, which will be the lowest level since February 2020. The jobless rate was at 3.6% in March and has declined by 0.4 of the percentage point this year. There were a record of 11.5 million job openings on the last day of March, which widened the job workers gap to a record of 3.4% of the labor force from 3.1% in February. Growing worker shortages were evident this week in other labor market reports, which all pointed to slower employment gains in April. With the gap between labor demand and supply widening, wages likely maintained their strong growth pace. Elsewhere, stock markets in Asia and America tumbled after the U.S. Central Bank this week announced the biggest interest rate rise in 22 years. The sell-off comes as worries intensified over how rising prices that came after shares in New York fell sharply, led by technology stocks. Hong Kong's benchmark Hang Seng index fell 3.6%, while shares on the Shanghai Stock Exchange were down 2.3%. Australia's ASX 200 was 2.4% lower, those followed by Dow Index, which include big names such as Apple, Nike, sliding by 3.1%. The losses wiped out the gains the market had enjoyed on Wednesday after the Federal Reserve announced it was raising its benchmark rate by half percentage point. Finally, Italian luxury brand Gucci will start accepting payments in cryptocurrencies in some of its stores in America. This service will be rolled out later this month at some of its flagship outlets in Los Angeles and New York. The announcement by such a high-profile brand marks another step forward for the acceptance of cryptocurrencies by mainstream businesses. Some of the world's biggest brands now accept digital currencies, including technology giant Microsoft, US telecoms firms AT&T, and coffee chain Starbucks. Bitcoin has also become legal tender in 2 countries, El Salvador and the Central African Republic. Terry Njenga for Lunchtime News.
And now on our interview segment, I'm joined by Abhinav, who is the head of marketing at L Bank. Well, welcome, sir. And we shall be taking a look at matters cryptocurrency. And just to kick us off, maybe for an individual who wants to venture into investing into cryptocurrency, what's the first thing that they actually need to know when they want to venture into cryptocurrency?
Hi everyone. Hi Kenya. It's great being here. So to answer your question, one of the most important things in venturing into cryptocurrency is education. I think this industry is about 7 years old, 8 years old, and education is something that is very important when you are learning about tokens, coin projects, when you're investing your money into it, and then there is a lot more aspects. Once you get deep into it, then you will understand how it works.
Mm-hmm. Maybe perhaps shed some light on why, what are the benefits of investing in crypto?
So there are a lot of coins, first of all. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, one of the biggest coins in the world. So the benefits is that, cryptocurrency gives you freedom. It's financial freedom to people. At L Bank, what we want to do is give power to the people. We want to, Africa, India, Latin America are one of the biggest markets in cryptocurrency. So whenever you're investing, do your research, find the best platform when you are in the crypto space. And then you can make good investments in any any coin you invest in.
You say L Bank is coming into Africa, or rather venturing into Africa to cushion Africans in terms of finances, and maybe why choose Africa? And
Africa is one of the biggest cryptocurrency markets, digital assets markets in the world. And Africa is a market where crypto adoption is moving so fast. P2P is one of the largest markets in Africa, and we feel that at L Bank, with the right education, with the right platform, and with the right people, the culture, we can make Africa a much bigger market than any in the world. Kenya is something that we are partnering up with Adanian Labs in Kenya, where they will help us expand in different regions in Africa like Nigeria, Ghana, Zanzibar, Tanzania, so different locations in Africa.
And you mentioned the benefits. While there are many benefits to decentralized financial systems, maybe, and at the same time there are limitations. Anyone needs to be aware of this. Maybe shed some light on this.
So there is right now currently, like I mentioned in the start, cryptos and the digital assets and the blockchain industry is so new. It's only 7 years old. The way forward for it is so that the government and at the same time the exchanges can work together in a compliant manner. This is how we will be able to make our industry a bigger industries in the next coming 5 to 10 years. we still have a lot of time in adopting cryptos. Africa is just one, and Africa is playing a very, very big role in making sure crypto adoption happens. And working with the government, working in a compliant manner. KYC needs to be done for each users. It's very important. And then different ecosystems working together, different crypto exchanges coexisting in the same space and partnering up with each other. It's very important to make sure that this industry does well.
Mm-hmm. Still on the topic of limitations, all cryptocurrencies have experienced rallies or crashes, and maybe why would an individual venture into blockchain, yet it varies every day to day?
So cryptocurrency, like you just said, the market is very volatile. I agree with that, because currently what's happening is the market is being run on speculations only. A lot of some big celebrity or some big founder says something, and then either the price of the coin will go up or down. So I agree that it's a bit of a volatile market. That this is where ecosystems like Cardano, Polygon, exchanges like LBank and different other exchanges are coming together to make sure that the market remains stable. And we are reaching at a point where once we start partnering up with different banks, once there are good on-ramp partners, once there are good off-ramp partners, this is where the market will start to stable up, and then people will be much more confident about investing as well.
And so still on that, statistics from various blockchain data platforms indicate that Kenya ranks high in the world in terms of cryptocurrency transactions. Do you think as a country we are prepared in terms of security and capacity to track suspicious transactions involving cryptocurrency dealings?
Yes. So this is where, after meeting Adanian Labs, after meeting John, our co-founder Alan and our COO Shantanu, they're also here. So they're directly having a conversation with Adanian Labs, partnering up with them to make sure that we have education compliant related and also safe environment when we are working in Kenya or in any other African countries. So yes, security is very, very important to us, and Kenya is the way roadmap for going into different markets in Africa.
Just having cryptocurrency exposes you to theft, as hackers may try to penetrate the computer networks that maintain one's asset. Is it even possible to recover an investment once lost? So yes, there has been a lot of hacks around in the last 2-3 years. And we are, so LBank, just to add here, LBank has never been hacked. There has been multiple tries on it, but they have never been hacked till now. And we've been around since 2016. But in other platforms, yes, there are other platforms that have been hacked. But yes, the way tech is evolving, the hacks will become much lesser. Blockchain technology plays a very important role in that, and it's the future for the next 30 years. This is where you will see the hacks are going to reduce. To recover the amount, yes, I mean, it is possible, but it's just that there's a lot of backtracking. It requires a lot of process, but it can be done. But it can be a long process as well. Okay.
Yeah.
As we wind up, maybe do you have any final remarks?
No, I'm very happy to have been in Africa, been in Kenya, and I'm very happy that I got to do this interview as well. So thank you so much, Kenya, and thank you so much. Yes, that's it.
Well, that is Abhinav Mete, who is the head of marketing at LBank. We wish you all the best as you venture into the Kenyan market. Now we move on. In other news, leaders allied to the Amaya Triangle Initiative, a peace initiative aimed at reconciling warring communities in the volatile North Rift region, have called for tolerance and understanding among politicians and their supporters as the country heads to the general election. Led by Laikipia Governor Nderitu Moreithi, the leaders urged politicians to shun utterances that could cause mayhem before, during or after the August 9th polls.
Speaking at Rumuruti town during a feast to celebrate 5 years of a Maya Triangle initiative, religious leaders and elders from the various communities challenged politicians not to put the country on the wrong path ahead of the August polls.
Jambo la busara sana, viongozi wameongea wakafanya peace declaration, pia tunuku wale viongozi wa kijamii ambao wamekuwa wakihusika na mambo ya amani.
Leaders allied to the initiative, among them Laikipia Governor Ndiritu Murithi, instead urged leaders to embrace respect and tolerance in effort to bring Kenyans together.
It's a collaborative effort between county governments and GAO, or the national government, as well as religious organizations.
Established to reconcile warring communities in the counties of Laikipia, Baringo, Samburu and Isiolo, the leaders took stock of their Maya Peace Initiative, which they said have made tremendous steps towards bringing peace, tackling cases of insecurity in the region.
Kile imetufurahisha sana kama commission ni vile wanasiasa ambayo wanatawala sasa hivi, na pia wale wanataka kusimama katika viti mbalimbali, MCA, MP, Senator na Governor, wote wamecommit kwamba safari hii watakuwa wanafanya kura ya kuunganisha watu.
Wa national government wale tunasimamia sana usalama, tunafanya ile tunaita partnership, tunafanya nao pamoja ili kuletea watu wetu amani na waishi na walete na maendeleo.
Ben Chumba, Lunchtime News.
Federation of Evangelical and Indigenous Christian Churches of Kenya has endorsed Deputy President William Ruto as the preferred presidential candidate, led by Chairman Samuel Njiriri. The bishops who have promised to campaign for the UDA candidate across the country ahead of the August polls are rooting for Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru to be Ruto's running mate.
We are asking our people to elect a president and leaders who are known to be part of us, the leaders who are part of the church, and leaders who fear God, and the leaders who respect our faith. And this time round, we are clear about the choice of our presidential candidate for the 2022 general election. And we shall go to our churches and persuade our people to elect His Excellency William Samoei Ruto as the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya.
And in the sports arena, Rangers will play Eintracht Frankfurt in the Europa League final. After the two sides won the semi-final matches, Rangers progressed on a 3-2 aggregate win over RB Leipzig, while Frankfurt defeated West Ham 3-1. Well, that brings us to the end of our bulletin this afternoon. Thank you for choosing Lunchtime News. My name is Jacky Wambiru. Sign language interpreter is Lucy Maura. For more news, check out our website.